What up, everybody? Shorty C94 back at you again. See if we can get our guest, Sneaker Dave. What's going on, sir? Just sent you the invite. What's going on, Jay Pickett, Larry V, Casta? What's going on? What's up, man?
Let me see here. I'm trying to see if hold on. Go live. Hold on, something's going on. You see?
Oh man, what's going on?
Hold on, let me do this here. Hold on, one sec.
All right, everybody. We'll be with y'all in just a sec. Welcome to everybody in here. A lot of good people in here. What's going on? While we wait for Sneaker Dave, what's everybody been copping lately? Anybody had any good reach backs? Any good come ups? I've had a few. What's up, Old Balance? What's up, Hyper Dunks? Okay. All right, did you get your address?
All right, there we go.
Okay, man. What's going on?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I am chilling. I'm good though. Healthy, family's good, mental's good. All right.
Good, man. Good, man. Actually, you got me missing Ohio. I know I'm from Cleveland, but you know what I'm saying? I missed that Ohio life already.
You ain't missing too much. It's fall now.
Hey, I'm a jacket and layering guy, so man, it's still like 80 degrees down here at sea, so I gotta wait a little bit longer. Yeah, man. Well, before we get started, let me ask you, what was the most positive thing you were able to take from 2020?
Man, I think the most positive thing that I took from 2020 was I had a lot of personal loss um, that I didn't really talk about. Um, I think with COVID, yeah, actually, no, let me take it back. So before COVID, rewind back to February, I think I had probably one of the best moments of my life, right, in 2020. And I had, and arguably a lot of people had a lot of the worst moments of their life, all wrapped in one, right? So, you know, I went to All Star in Chicago.
I've seen that.
All Star Chicago was like the best NBA, WNBA experience I've ever had. This is my first time going to an All Star weekend, and that was the highlight of my life. But then you got to remember, like a month prior, we lost Kobe, right? So I'm devastated, because I tell people all the time, like, even though I didn't know Kobe, a lot of us didn't really know Kobe. Like, Kobe was like a lot of our big brothers. A
Yes.
lot of Kobe like a big brother, and we watched him grow. So like knowing that, and then suddenly he doesn't exist. His daughter doesn't exist. Like that was devastating. So like that was the first celebrity like I ever like cry. I wouldn't even call him a celebrity. He was just this, again, he was like, it felt like I lost a big brother. And I've never felt pain like that with someone who I really didn't know. So I dealt with that, and then like to go to All Star and see, like when I'm talking to athletes, like other people who like actually do him and played with him, it was just so just heartbreaking because these people knew him personally. So, all while I'm devastated about that, like I'm excited meeting like all, these greats who played basketball, and they're just as devastated, even though we're trying to have a good time. So, you know, it was that, and then after all that, boom, shutdown. So we have the shutdown, and that was just devastating to see, people who had jobs, solid jobs, government jobs. Now all of a sudden they don't have jobs, and I think a lot of us, especially us, Black people, it was just this feeling of uncertainty, across the board. Even myself, when my job, we shut down, and I'm more so, I'm not even worried about me. I'm worried about my parents. I'm worried about my friends. Like, how are we gonna cope through this? And we can't necessarily go to one another's house. So I'm sure everybody who's watching this went, had these thoughts, and as we're going through that, I lost 4 family members, man. So imagine, losing your basketball hero and then losing 4 family members. And now with COVID, you go to their funerals and you can't even really say goodbye. You just kind of got to peek at them and leave. And that's the last time you see them, like ever. Man,
Yeah.
it was very, very hard for me to deal with in that year. So the answer to your question is I learned to appreciate people while they're here, and share positive moments with them, as far as calling them, letting them know you're thinking of them, uh, catching up with them as far as like, hey, let's go get a beer, let's grab lunch, those kinds of things, man. Calling for birthdays. So I'm more appreciative of the people I have around me, because at the end of the day, all you do have is family. So I learned I don't even want to say a lesson, but I had a very serious wake up call as far as just appreciating people while they're here on earth and not till after the fact that they're gone. So appreciating them while they're here now is the answer to your question.
Gotcha. And I do want to say, I mean, I was devastated, with Kobe, because it was similar with me, where I looked at him. He's in our age group. You know what I mean? So he kind of represented, us out there. And I mean, at a time where, you remember in the early 2000s how everybody preferred Iverson or Vince Carter or, Steve Francis. And those guys are great. I love them all, but they weren't Kobe. And you know what I mean? It's just, it was really, really devastating, and I still, since he's such an inspiration to me, I still watch, but like I know a lot of people that really can't watch his highlights anymore. And I'm like, he still was such an inspiration to me that I still have to look at him every couple of days so I can, do what I need to do. He's really, been that kind of inspiration for me. So I definitely understand.
Hold on. I see Matt in the comments. And, if anybody knows Matt, MT's cool guy, owner of corporate, he and I, and a lot of people don't really know this story. We don't really talk about it too much, but when the shutdown was here, we didn't know like what the future was gonna hold, man. And I just remember like I'm tearing up just thinking about it, man, because it was just so like we didn't know what would happen next. And trying to, he's trying to run a shop, and we're just trying to make sure our families are cool, man. So like, I just remember like during that whole shutdown, and we're trying to make sure the operations are working, and we, you know, he couldn't really pay anybody because everything was just shut down. So I remember just I would go to his house and just make sure like you know, all the daily operations would be done. And we worked hours upon hours just making sure, like, you know, people got their orders, you know, just people were, you know, just making sure people were just taken care of as far as like, you know, whatever items that they needed, and you know, while all this shutdown was going on, because you know people were still buying, you know, while the shutdown was going on. So we just kind of did what we had to do, man. And I honestly could say, like, you know, you know, Matt's been my brother for like 20 years, and a lot of people, you know, don't know like a lot of stuff I do in the background as far as corporate. But man, like we really like, you know, you want to talk about sticking together, man. Like that was really like, you know, sticking together. It was just me, him, and a couple of other people, man. But that was one of the most interesting summers we've ever, you know, had to endure with all the crazy stuff. And you know, I just wanted to tell Matt that I appreciate him and thank you. You know, just thank you for being family. Thank you for being a brother. I'm just like I said, man. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to do what I do. Even though y'all don't really see me out and about like people used to, but I'm blessed to do what I do, man, for sure. So I just wanted to say that, man, because that was really on my heart. Love him like a brother.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And that corporate got him. That's like worldwide, like everybody knows, man. You know.
Sure, sure.
Um, okay. Well, before we, you know, get into some sneaker origins, I did want to ask you about, you know, the All Star Game hadn't been in Chicago since 1988, so I know it was crazy. You know, I know you got to meet a lot of people, but what was like your best or most memorable time at the All Star?
Man, as crazy as it sounds, it was. So I get there and I get a I get an invite to an NBA. It was like it wasn't a dinner, but it was like a get together.
Hmm.
And at this get together, there were like all people who they were in the operations of the NBA, or they did stuff with the NBA Cares, or they were people. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily say Hall of Fame, but there were some people in the room where I saw, and I was just like, dude, like these people are like the goats of basketball. They're the reason basketball is the way it is. So I'm approached by Cheryl Swoops, and I've always wanted to meet Cheryl Swoops, and we got to know one another through her brother, Brandon Swoops, and we go VIP to this. It's kind of like it was like a bar restaurant kind of deal. It was very vibrant, um, and we go on this private bus, tinted windows and all. I've never been on a private bus, and we go. As soon as we get to the place, paparazzi just everywhere. So I'm I'm taking in like the fact that like I'm with like literally the greatest player of all time, and she's treating me like I'm just you know family, and so the paparazzi is all in our face while we go into this building, and we go in there, we're hanging out, and she's like, "I want you to meet somebody," and it's Isaiah Thomas. So
Wow.
like whoa, like, and if you know Isaiah Thomas, he's Chicago basketball royalty, and
Yes.
they rolled out the red carpet for this dude, man. So to see Zeke and just to be in his aura, like it was really really cool. So that
Wow.
was the coolest NBA moment I had, and then the second one right after that, I think it was like neither that night or the next night we go to a Players Tribune private party at some club, and we go in there, and everybody who's everybody in there, and I think I'm not even kidding. I think I met probably all the legends I ever wanted to meet except for Michael Jordan. So I'm going in there. I see first people I see is like Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson, and that was really cool. And then I'm at the bar and I see Gary Payton walk by. Like, that was cool. But
Ooh,
the best experience, and I didn't even get to meet him, but just the fact that he was in the same room, Allen Iverson was there. And
wow.
to see a cultural phenom, in person, and he's just vibing out. But to see him in person, even though it's not on the court, it was still just as cool as like I seen him on the court. So
Could imagine. Wow.
yeah, so being in a room with all these basketball greats that you grew up with, and you have all their shoes. You know what I'm saying? So that was really like cool, man, and that's what it's about. Seeing people that you grew up with. I didn't necessarily talk to them because it was just so much going on in the room, but just
Sure.
seeing that they were in their environment and they were cool and nobody was badgering them, like that was cool, man. Just being amongst them.
Yeah. And that's cool that you were able to be there and still be Sneaker Dave and not be like, hey, you know what I mean, like all that. So
That
that's
was
that's probably
that was that's something I definitely want to experience more, just the NBA, WNBA experience. So when everything gets better, like I definitely want to definitely tie in more with the leagues.
cool. Now, before we move on, while you were in Chicago, did you get any of the releases?
Man, so I because of just the craziness, um, they they did release a lot of stuff up there, but a lot of that stuff was hard to get because it just, if Nike announced or Foot Locker announced, where shoes are gonna be, everybody was kind of just already just packed at that spot, and then obviously the biggest release up there was probably the air, that airship pack, and I think that's what people were up there most for. But I also think information has kind of ruined how we look at releases, because it's like, if a place announces, you know, hey, we're doing a lineup, you don't really know what they're doing a lineup for, but you just know you got to be there, right? So I'm there, and I'm not talking about, 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon. I'm talking about frigid temperatures, midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., because you don't know when they're releasing the shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And you don't really know what they're releasing either. So you would go to all these events, seeing what they're releasing, and a lot of times it's duds, right? So, but I will say I did pick up it was the Jordan 3, the red leather Air Jordan 3. So I did pick up those. They did have some restocks on like Jordan 11s and Jordan 4s and stuff like that. And it was the Chicago, no, the UNC, the Chicago women's Jordan 1s. They had a bunch of those. So people really like bought those because they were more widely available in Chicago. But the main one was that airship, and the airship pack was kind of like you had to be there. And remember, it wasn't like, they didn't do sneakers or anything with those. Like, it was Chicago that weekend only. That's it, period. You just got to be here. And I understand a lot of people were upset about that. But at the same time, um, I think that was kind of brilliant, because if you wanted the shoes, if you're in the Midwest area and you want the shoes, you had to figure out some kind of way to be in Chicago to at least have a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some people paid resale, and it ended up being lucrative for them looking back at it. But a lot of people were reluctant to pay resale, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But that airship pack wasn't really available like that, just because of the craziness. I had a chance, but by the time I got there, at the want to say, I forget what building they had. It was the Armory. It was the Armory. By the time it was my turn in line, they had just sold out of the Air Jordan, the airship pack, and then I ended up getting like a black off white 5. Oh, black off white 5s as well. Yeah, that's what released out there.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad that you know had a good experience out there. I mean, I know it was crazy. I definitely considered trying to get out there, but it was just too much going on, so I wasn't able to. But okay, all right. Well, um, now we'll dive into some sneaker origins. Now I will just say, from years of seeing you around and at sneaker shows, I always associate you with pennies, because ever since I saw that wooden box pack, which we'll talk about later, I was like, man, I didn't even know that existed. But what is it? What was your earliest sneaker moment or origin there?
And my earliest sneaker origin probably goes. It probably had to be first grade. I've been in the sneakers all my life, as far as I can remember. I remember being very, very young. This has to be the late '80s. The late '80s. So every summer, I would go to Chicago, and so my relatives are originally from Chicago. So I would go up there, I visit my grandma, and I would stay with my grandma for every summer. And my grandma loved Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So based on that, um, that's how I got to see Michael Jordan very early in my life. I'm probably 3, 4, 5 years old around this time, going back and forth. And I spent a lot of time up there. So I got exposed very early to how people wore footwear up there, whether it was, a guy on the street, a hustler, being on the church, I'd be on that church bus, when grandma take you to church on that, and that church van would come and get you, I would
Yeah,
see billboards, and I would be in, see what people were wearing in the streets and stuff like that. And, I was the kid who, I couldn't come off the porch. I had to sit on the stoop, but I would see all this unfolding at a very young age. And I knew at a very young age I was going to be in the shoes. I was probably like 4 when I knew I was going to be in the shoes. And I remember probably first grade, my mom bought me my first Nike Flights, and I wrote a book about it in the first grade that I still have. And it's
nice.
crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, but that was like my first early moments in like liking shoes. Very, very early.
Okay, okay. So if we fast forward a little bit, what was like that first shoe that kind of like took it to another level?
It had to be the Air Penny 2, Black Royal.
Okay.
That just on such another level of just creativity and just uh, it was lightning in a bottle to me. Like I've seen a lot of dope shoes before that, but the Penny 2, just the way the lines curve and the white foam midsole, the airbag, the swirl on the outsole, the 3M piping. I mean that shoe was perfect to me. That shoe was
Yeah.
So yeah, that was when things like that's when I really got serious into like wanting to be in shoes. And I always asked my parents for shoes, but we wasn't. I wasn't. I was at the age where like I would never ask my parents for $100 Jordans, but I would ask for other things. I knew I couldn't have penny twos, and that was okay, but there was options back then.
Sure.
That penny two, man. That's just it was ahead of its time when they came out, and they still are really.
Yeah, to me, that's one of Eric Avar's best designs. Through all the Kobe's and everything else.
No question, no question.
Definitely, I almost, because I wore. I should have put it on Instagram. I wore the LWPs today because I knew I was going to be talking to you. And again, I know that's technically Tim Hardaway's shoe, but it's still a penny to me.
It's still
What you say?
it's still a penny to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I couldn't find any pictures of him wearing the black one, just the white one. But yeah, it's a penny. It's very elusive. But so is that penny too. the one retro that we got of it. I don't know why we only got that '08 retro, and that's it. So I don't know. That's the shoe I gotta have. Again, I almost wore it today, but I'm kind of afraid to wear it because I keep seeing people's come apart. But that is definitely a great shoe.
Yeah, great
Uh,
shoe.
okay. So just the black, or do you feel that way about just the silhouette in general?
The black, the white royals is crazy. But mainly those two. The All Star one was okay, but it's too much white. But I mean, really both of them. But it's mainly the black. I only seen, there was a kid in my class, and you know how shoes go. Like you know the full name of the kid who wore the shoe that changed you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
a kid named Michael Akoff. Um, he came to school in a pair, and it literally like changed my outlook on how I view shoes. Because that was you know back then shoes wasn't being made like that. Really back then. That was like really really in your face with the crazy design.
And then it's always added mistake. We come from that era where Nike commercials meant something. You wait for the commercial, so you know Lil Penny was like part of the added mystique to that. I could still see the commercials for him because there were about 3 or 4 Penny 2 commercials. So to me, those kind of add mystique to it too. I kind of miss those times when commercials would matter. So
Yeah, definitely matter. Yeah,
yeah.
commercials definitely.
All right. All right. Now, being Cincinnati, back in the day when you weren't in Chicago, where was your favorite place when your parents would get you sneakers back in the day? Where would it be?
Man, so there was a couple places. Take me to Foot Locker, just for feet, where 13 pair was free. That was because they used to be at just for feet used to be in Truck County, so they used to take me to Truck County to get shoes there. Athletic Attic, Northgate Mall, Athlete's Foot in Northgate Mall, All About Sports that was in the Northgate area. They ended up closing. Um, Man, I never went to Coins. If anybody's in this chat from Cincinnati, if y'all know about Coins on Ray Street, like that was a store I always wanted to go to. Um, Youngstown, uh, McConn's. I can't mention shoe store without McConn's. McConn's took great care of me, man, in the late '90s and early 2000s. I got to know their family right before they closed. But McConn's was definitely a good place. And of course, I got to mention Devereaux's, man. Devereaux's took care of me. My man Larry Driscoll, he made sure his staff took great care of me anytime I came to Devereaux's. But I also used to work in the shoe stores back in the day, so I ended up just helping, just build those relationships. Um, but yeah, so all those stores really like I shopped at all of them really.
Okay. If you don't mind, where all did you work at? Because I've also worked in several shoe stores.
So my first shoe store was uh, I think my first opportunity was Finish Line, Finish Line, Northgate Mall. That was my first ever shoe store job. I'm forever grateful for Mr. McCarter for giving me a chance to get my foot wet in the footwear industry. Because back then, it was very, very hard to get a shoe store job. Like now, it's easy, but back then,
Yes.
you had to meet so many qualifications, especially for Finish Line. Finish Line had to do this big survey, and I heard a lot of people used to fill that survey. And I remember doing my survey, and somehow I passed it, and I got an interview. And I remember just seeing all these people interviewing, and I interviewed, and by the Lord's grace, man, I was chosen, and I got my opportunity, man. So till this day, if that doesn't happen, I can't honestly say I'd be where I was. So it was really that opportunity that really paved the way for me, because then I really got serious about learning about the industry.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, when was this with the finish line? Like, around what time?
So this is 2001. So this is July. This is July 2001. So this is right around. Um,
Black Cement 3.
this is right. This is right around Black Cement 3. This is right before. No, this is Black Cement 3, Air Jordan 16. They're ramping up for the 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was around that time. So we're talking um, Black Cement 3, Mocha 3, uh, Air Jordan 11, black and red that holiday, True Blue 3 that holiday, I believe. Uh, yeah, so it was around that window.
Okay. All those ones from '01, the USA
Yeah,
version.
yep, it was right around that. And Devereaux's had the Jordan ones at the time. For some reason, the Foot Lockers. Well, maybe some Foot Lockers that got them, but I just remember specifically Devereaux just having the Jordan 1. Finish Line definitely didn't have them.
Yeah.
I think we had the silver, but they definitely had the black and red and black and royal for sure.
Okay. I know in Cleveland, a lot of places got the silver and the royal, but only a few places got the black and red and the navy with the silver. Those were a little harder to come by. But I mean, the Jordan 1 was those pairs sold, but I mean, it wasn't like how it is now. So I don't know. A lot of people, like, I remember getting my royals and my silvers for $59 at Champs. You know what I mean? Just a different time. But talking about back in the day, now we'll go to currently, where is kind of your go-to to get, sneakers.
Man, I'm not even gonna hold you. I get all my shoes at corporate, pretty much.
Hey, I miss when I was with exhibitions like that where I could just, you know, so
Every now and again, I'll go to Foot Locker, or Champs. I still have relationships in a lot of those stores, and I'm very grateful. So I'll still go to those stores. When I'm out of town, I'll dip and dab in some other stores, like especially like on the West Coast. But for the most part, like right here at home, definitely corporate, and occasionally a Foot Locker.
yeah. Yeah, one thing I've had to adjust to with not being up north and being down here is, everything is a little more spread out, and I don't really have the relationships here that I have back there. So a lot of times I do have to rely on Cleveland. Like, my old one of my really good friends, he was my assistant at Hibbett, looked out for the Lightnings because I struck out and I didn't hit anywhere here, and that was a shoe back from Nike Talk I wanted that I wasn't able to get. So the relationships are everything. I'm glad you keep saying relationships because, most of our audience here is, around our age group, but there's probably some younger people in there. Relationships are everything in shoes, and I'm glad you saying that so they know. Oh,
For sure, sure. It is everything. It's definitely everything.
all right. Now, with you having so much tenure in the shoe game, what influences you buying a sneaker right now? Is it just nostalgia, or is there any other thing that goes into that?
It's part of nostalgia. It's part of what I just genuinely like to wear at that time. Um, I can't necessarily say. Uh, I think a lot of times, a lot of people get caught into what the internet says you should be wearing or what you should be buying. Um,
Sure.
I only look at what I think is cool, and that explains like why I have like a lot of like obscure shoes, right? And yeah, I have dunks, and yeah, I have the retros, and I have the hype stuff, but I'm really true to like just what I genuinely like for myself and not what the internet think I should like, you know.
Sure.
That's just how I've always been, because it's not a Mr. Me Too thing for me. It's like I do shoes for me, and that's
Sure.
it.
Nah,
So
shoot. Say it louder. Shoot.
yeah, but that's how I've always saw it, because you know, sneakers is cool. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just trying to stay true to myself, and not what you know other people think. Because all that matters is how I think. You know. So yeah, so that's my answer. That's my answer.
Gotcha. I did want to say hello to everybody that's joined. I'm really bad at keeping up with the comments. It's my 37th episode, so I still haven't gotten any better. I'm just so focused on, talking to Dave here. I haven't said hello to anybody, but did see one comment, soft shoe wraps. What in the Nike talk is going on here? What's up with both of y'all? And then what do you guys look for when you're at SneakerCon? So I ask you that. What do you look for if you go to a sneaker show, Dave?
So it's weird how like how the landscape has changed, right? Because like I went to one not too long ago, and everything that you see on, let's say, Instagram or a Twitter exists in that room. So what I mean by that is everything you see like people probably wearing or like promoting online or seeing like in a resale shop that they just got in literally exists in that room at once. And when people ask me what I'm looking for, it's always something that never is in the building, right? Because I'm always looking for something like recent, but I'm always looking for stuff like that's out of print. And that maybe just because that's how I'm built. Like I'm always looking for stuff that no one really has. Like that's fun to me. Like that's why, you know, when COVID's over, like I like traveling, like going out finding stuff. Like that's fun for me. So going to a sneaker con and seeing the same off-whites, the same everything that I see on these platforms every day, that's not fun for me. Finding some Hirachi flights from 2002 that's on this random guy's table in the corner, that's fun for me. You know, but that's just kind of how it is. It's definitely a generational thing, and I understand. But the other thing that I'm noticing about how the landscape is changing, you know, now everything at these shows are sales driven and fashion driven. Now everything is, nobody comes to sneaker shows to learn. There's no shoe displays. There's none of that anymore. It doesn't exist. It's literally a sell-driven event, and I think that's I kind of think that's a shame, because when I used to do tables, like I wanted people to come there and really learn about footwear if you didn't know, I wanted someone to come to my table and actually learn something and leave there learning something cool if they didn't know what shoes was about. I used to have, old people used to go to sneaker shows. Now it's none of that, unless it's a parent, escorting their kid, but they're not there to learn, they're there to buy. But it's still how times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, the only shows I've ever displayed in was, Cleveland's Got Soul, Kevin. SneakerCon came for the first time to Cleveland in 2015, and they asked me to display, but the tables cost so much it didn't really seem worth it if I wasn't, selling. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it started being like what you said, where it was just more about selling, and they were really encouraging me to, try to sell stuff. But I'm like, well, I'm just a displayer. I'm going there to buy stuff myself. I'm not really going there to sell. So I don't blame SneakerCon for that, but I feel like I enjoyed a lot of the older shows that people would throw, themselves before SneakerCon really came on the scene and
But
really.
I noticed that has changed, and I don't think it's going to circle back. And I think um, that's very sad that the younger generation doesn't get to experience what it's like learning the culture. Um, like we could still put it out there, but to be in a room and people just displaying their old stuff or even their current stuff and learning about how footwear got to that point, that's what I think is missing. And I cringe for these kids who want to get in the shoes today because they'll never really fully understand um, what it was like to naturally grow up watching your favorite athlete, you know, wear the shoes and just be in the field, just taking in the experience and not so much on the phone.
Yeah, yeah. When I go to a sneaker show, I'm looking for old stuff, like you said, too. Just old stuff, different stuff. Like the last sneaker con I went to, which was 2019 in Cleveland. This one guy had this table with all these older SBs and older basketball shoes that were definitely worn. They weren't beat, but I went back to that table like three different times and got stuff from him because nobody else had a table like that in the whole place. It was just Jordan ones, Yeezys, and just off white stuff. And like you said, we all have some of that stuff, but that's not all I want to see when I go to a sneaker show. So I want to see old stuff. But okay. Um, as far as recently, what's the most recent thing you've copped?
Man, I just got man, a couple of things. I just got there's these Reeboks showed them today. They're called the Reebok Bump and Runs. Um, Forgotten football turf shoe. I think Herman Moore used to wear them, but I've been looking for that shoe probably since '97, and I just acquired those. And it was one of those things where you see certain shoes and you kind of tell yourself if you don't see them, if you don't get them, then you'll never see these again. And that was just the kind of situation it was. And I didn't pay a bunch of money for them. I paid like $60 for them. But to see that, if you don't do it right then, and I've had moments like that where I had a chance to get a shoe and I didn't get it, and I know I'm not going to see it again. Um,
Yeah.
so that I've been recently trying to catch up with a couple dunks that I missed out on. Um, I did get the Iowa dunk, the highs. Was really feeling those, so I grabbed those. I recently won the Pata SBs. Those were really dope.
Nice.
Trying to think, just random things, man. Some Air Force Twos, white, 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 red, and blue.
Ooh, man, that's a regret. Like I sold those right when we left Cleveland to come down here because I thought I was gonna be able to find another pair, and they're deep in the sneaker vortex. Like I really regret that.
Yeah, so those. I recently got two Air Force Ones. One was the high top with the Nike, the one they did and when they remastered them all in 2015. All those
Already.
crafted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just I just recently got that red pair,
Okay.
um, and then I got that Atmos Complex Con exclusive one they did like 2018 or 2019 with the multicolors and the suede low tops. Oh man, oh man,
Ooh, ooh.
I can find those. So I got a really really good deal on those. So I'm super glad I got those
Yeah, those are some good reachbacks, man. You
now. Yeah.
know. Um, okay. Well, talking about that Reebok shoe, it kind of leads me to does Sneaker Dave have a holy grail?
Yes, yes, I have a holy grail. It's probably a shoe. Actually, I don't even have them with me right now, but I have two, and they're not even basketball shoes. Yes, I have basketball grails. Everybody has seen my basketball. But my two grails are actually hockey shoes.
Okay.
So, crazy story. So, let me set it up. So, one of my favorite, like, films, or what do you call it? What do you call films with more than one film?
Well, sequels and
Yeah, like sequels, or the can't think of the word right now. The franchise. So I'm a
okay.
huge Mighty Ducks franchise,
Okay.
uh, and I idolize not only like the hockey guys, but I'm a huge fan of Emilio Estevez. So Emilio Estevez lives in Cincinnati, right? And I actually had an encounter with him not too long ago, right? And it took everything in me not to turn 12 years old because I'm talking about this.
Sure.
But what Estevez didn't know is that because of his hockey films, his Coach Bombay, that I I picked up street hockey in the 90s based on those films. So my two grails is the Nike Street Defender, which was one of the few licensed hockey shoes Nike ever did.
Yeah.
And um, my other grail is the Wayne Gretzky LA Gear 99.
Mm.
And a lot of people really, they'd have to go to Google to see those shoes because they literally really don't exist. Um, so I have one pair of those Nike Street Defenders, and I actually have two pairs of dead stock LA Gear 99s by Wayne Gretzky. Uh,
Wow.
you don't see those anymore. I don't know anyone who has them, uh, but those are like literally my favorite grails that I can literally probably hold up and say no one has these, and they probably don't, except for probably Wayne Gretzky.
I will say, whenever I do see the Street Defender, every couple of years I'll see one for sale. Usually, all of the plastic is cracked, off of them, or they're just barely held together. Um, I remember those from East Bay. Seeing them in East Bay all the time. And I know they have the NHL logo on them somewhere, don't they?
I have this. Matter of fact, maybe let me see if I can get someone to get them. Sweetie, hey, hey, can you do me a favor? Hey, can you go in the archive and get my, my those big boots that's hanging, those hockey shoes I got? Yeah. Grab it from me.
Oh man,
I thought I wasn't gonna.
bang right there. Oh man,
Nah, but
yeah,
I want the people to at least see that one. Um, that's a very very important shoe to me. As many shoes as people ever seen me wear. Um, these are just the coolest shoes I own, man. Every time, yeah, bring those here. Thank you. So here they go. These are the Wayne Gretzky LA Gear 99s.
nice,
These are
nice.
just insane.
Got the hang tag and everything. Okay, I see you.
I think if you look in the Google search, like you'll see like Tia and Tamara. They're wearing a pair. Wayne Gretzky's wearing a pair. I've only seen these. Uh, I used to see these at Value City way back in the day, and I remember seeing them on that shoe wall in the back, and I would always ask my mom, can you get me these Wayne Gretzky's? And she was like, no, like we got to get you regular shoes, like these are boots. And I used to be so just devastated that mom never bought me the Wayne Gretzky's. But as soon as a pair became available, um, I got a pair, and so how I got these real quick. There was a guy on eBay. Never seen a pair in men's. I've always seen like grade school or infants. He had a size 10, and I told him like, name your price, name your price. And he basically said, like, look, my son is about to start softball. If you could just fund the money to get my son a softball bat, they're yours. So I ended up like $125 for these, and
Nice.
got them, and sent them, and boom. And I actually have two pairs of these. So I have a pair dead stock with a box. And I asked the guy, I think I bought them for like $90. And I asked the guy, I had to ask him, I said, where did you find these? Because I was like, these are just too pristine with a box. Like these are impossible with a box. And man, this dude said he had bought them. He had bought them for a relative for a birthday party. Forgot to bring them to the birthday party in 94, 95, and they sat in his garage for 25 years.
Wow. Wow.
And that's that.
Whew. Yeah, man, that's tight, man. I never seen those Wayne Gretzky's like I seen the other one.
Yeah, and Marv's right. This came from the archive. I said
Yeah.
my girlfriend for these. These are insane, man. These are insane, and you'll never see these on the street, like ever. You won't even see these in a collection, really.
Nah.
So I know people. We see the Nikes, we see Jordans and stuff like that. But again, this is one of those obscure things that I'm into. I got everything else, so this is cooler stuff that people don't really see every day. So that's what being into sneakers is truly about, man. Just liking what you like, man, and not what everyone else thinks. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's about how you think and how you feel.
Yep.
You know.
Well,
Yeah,
let me ask you this then. Do you feel like, because you're in the sports, do you feel like you would have the same love for certain sneakers if you weren't in the sports?
yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. And you, without even having to think about it, just yes.
Right. So you got to think like even if you don't see athletes like wearing the shoes, even if you don't particularly know the story of the shoe, like a lot of this stuff is really like these are pieces of like art. Like you're really seeing when these designers create shoes. It's almost like it ain't no different than when people collect cars or pieces of clothing. Like it all ties back to art pieces, really. If you think about it, like that's the whole reason people collect. There's just this art part to it that makes it really like dope.
Gotcha. All right. Now, I do have to ask, because everybody does it different. How do you store your sneakers? Do you keep them in the box, or do you use the clear things people are switching over?
I honestly, I keep. So I have three things I do. So I'm really a box guy. So I have everything's really in the box. I do have a couple containers, but those are usually reserved for shoes like that really don't have boxes. And then, depending on if I have a lot of shoes, I have just racks where I can just take a shoe out of the box, and just throw them on a rack because I might my shelves are at capacity at that particular point in time. So I have a little bit of everything, but the key to storing your shoes is really I notice a lot of people always have their shoes in the sunlight with the containers, and that's cool and all. But I think the secret is just keeping them in a dark place all the time, in a cool place, and not to where it's hot and cold, and the light beaming on your shoes all the time. So you got to keep them somewhere very, very dark and very, very cool.
Gotcha.
So that's the trade.
Okay. Now, is there a shoe you have that you need to undead stock that you just haven't got around to yet?
Yeah, but there's so many to where I just it's one of those I get to it when I get to it kind of things. It's really never on my radar because it's so much. But it just really just depends how I feel that day. You know, a lot of times I wear the same shoes, but then there are times where, if I'm going somewhere like the grocery store, and it's weird because I can't really go to many places because I'll get stopped and I'm asked a bunch of questions about my shoes, and I really don't want that kind of attention when I'm with my kids and my girlfriend and stuff. So I just
Sure.
wear the same old stuff, or I wear my sandals just so no one will really ask me anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, is there a shoe that gets more attention than any of the others, or were you just like, man, I
Yeah,
can't even?
black cement threes. My black cement threes are my go-tos. Um, Trying to think what's another go-to. My These black and royal low top dunks are like my go-tos. Um, I know there's a runner. Oh, my infrared 90s right now. My infrared 90s are definitely like one of my go-tos. Black and royal ones, those are always my go-tos. Um, I think that's it for now. But there's so much that I wear, but my go-tos are definitely those I just named.
Okay. Now, you mind naming some shoes that you'll never wear, or do you have any that you'll never wear?
Probably all that stuff from the 90s. Um, all that stuff from all the 90s and maybe early 2000s I could probably never wear. So I just kind of keep them in, the archives just to, because you never know. Once stuff's out of print, man, like it's done, it's usually done forever. So, so a lot of that does not get worn. I specifically have them literally just to have. Um, but I will say I have a pair of airships that I probably won't wear, um, only because they're just too nostalgic, and it's really the reason shoes is where they're at today. So those will probably never get worn. If I get another pair, I'll wear that one, but that's probably a shoe that I'll probably never wear.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Now, you're a lot of people's, favorite, sneakerhead. A lot of people, you've always been revered in the shoe game. Do you have any favorite sneakerheads yourself?
Um, I honestly would say no, because I just always kind of feel like everyone's different, and we're all amongst one another. So yeah, I don't have one, um, but I do appreciate what everyone's doing as far as like their contributions in the footwear industry, whether it's the ESPN platforms, the YouTube platforms, Twitter and Instagram platform. It's so many people, and everyone's different, but yet the same at the same time. So I just appreciate everyone. Really, honestly, I don't have a favorite, but I do talk to a lot of them, and every chance I get, I'm always giving them the nod on stuff that they're wearing or the projects that they're doing. It's just really great.
Now, now I got to ask you about your penny collection because I've seen that box set. How many pennies is it?
It used to be at some point it was probably 130 or 140 pairs. Eventually I downsized, but I still have a ton of that stuff, especially like the original stuff. Um, so a lot of that stuff I really kind of just either sold or gave away because it was just a lot. Um, but as far as like the original pieces, like I have a lot of those original pieces still, like
Okay.
2000, 2002, 2003, and down.
Okay. Okay.
I
All
kept a
right.
couple. I kept a couple of the ones they done a couple of years ago.
Okay. How did you feel about the penny five and the penny six?
I actually liked them. When Mark Dolce worked on them, especially the Penny Five, man, I was so hyped that they were reviving the line at the time, and they were doing a lot of stuff at that point, man. Because they did those, and then they did little penny posit, then they did like the shooting star pack, um, the Sharpie pack with the penny six. So they they were doing all types of cool stuff at that time, man. So I was really on a high because, you know, at that time, you know, I actually got to, you know, all that ended up, uh, it ended up getting me a chance to go to Memphis and speak with Penny and do stuff with you know, Nike. So I was very, very gracious at that time period for what they were doing, man. So I love the Penny 5. They were super comfortable, super comfortable. Penny 6 were just as dope. I love that as well. So all that stuff, I just kind of felt like, you know, Penny was getting his just due again in the footwear game. So it was good. It was a good ride while it lasted, while he was at Nike until I went to Adidas. So then after that, it kind of just stopped, and now, you know, they've been, you know, the Penny line is just kind of all over the place now. So we don't know what'll become of it.
Yeah, that black, white, and blue, you know, the Orlando Penny 5 has slipped through my fingers so many times in my size. Like I always find it in like 8s, 8.5. So I've never been able to find it bigger than an 11. So it's something I'm still looking for. So it was a good shoe. I got a lot of other colors, but the 6, I only got the one from the, you know, Sharpie pack. So, but yeah, I've always appreciated, you know, your Penny, you know, collection. I know it was a lot. So, you know, now out of all of those, there one that's the most valuable, you know, like not price wise, but to you, like what's one that you're not parting with, like the one you're not parting with the most, I mean.
Um, I would say the one I probably wouldn't part with. I have an original 1996 Black and Royal. The owner, whoever the owner was, had them, and they looked like they were made like the day before. They were just so pristine. So I do have those, and then I have one that I tucked away. At the time, it was a unreleased Zoom rookie sample that was black with the yellow.
Wow.
101.
Okay.
Yeah, those are super crazy. You know, I just remember I wore them one time, and I wore them to Baltimore sneaker show, and I remember being in Baltimore and walking in with them, and like I knew people in Baltimore were like really on phone posits, but I just remember like really taking this building by storm by wearing these 101 samples. I didn't think it would be a big deal, but it was a really big deal. So that was pretty cool.
All right. Before we move on from Penny, do you have a favorite Penny hybrid?
Uh, it might have to be a rookie,
Okay.
and specifically, it's the glow in the dark Zoom rookie.
Okay.
And the reason why was this was 2010. So the Zoom rookie comes out. I'm working at corporate, and I remember AJ Green just got drafted, and AJ Green had came in, and he was looking for a pair. And I remember I had a pair for him, and I accidentally sold it.
Mm.
I accidentally sold AJ Green's Zoom rookies. and so that's how me and AJ Green uh, that was our icebreaker. Me accidentally selling his glow in the dark Zoom rookies.
Pretty
and,
good.
and we've been cool ever since. So that's my favorite one, because every time I think of Zoom rookie, I think of AJ Green. So
Nice. So you mess with the half cent though.
I love the half cent. So the black and blue one, that's my favorite. But I put the Zoom rookie over that because they had at that time they had never did a 2-piece foam posit shoe one, and then they did like it glowed in the dark like that. They ain't never did that. That was like a game changer for me. So a glow in the dark foam posit. my only gripe is that they didn't do a foam posit one glow in the dark. That
Yeah.
was my only gripe. Because now we know they have the technology. So, but that glow in the dark Zoom rookie, that shit was crazy.
All right. Well, since you brought up phone posits, I'm glad you brought them up because I'd have been mad at myself for not asking you this because this is one of the questions I had thought of when you had agreed to do this. So, with phone posits being what they are, I'll always look at them as a penny shoe. Half of them have the 1 cent logo on them. I mean, it's a part of Penny's line, but do you still kind of include it? Like if you're talking about your Penny collection, are you including the phone posits, even if they're not OG colored, if they have the 1 cent logo on them?
Yeah, those are all pennies. I actually thought you were gonna go foam posit pro. But yeah, those are all pennies.
Okay.
Yeah, those
Now,
are all pennies.
do you consider the phone posit? So is the phone posit pro different?
Foam posit pro is different.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
those that's penny all day.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, as we kind of are rounding things up, I do have to ask, how does your family feel about your relationship with sneakers?
Um, I think they're cool. I think they've always been cool with it. I just never let it try to like consume me, because a lot of times, you can be, sneakers can overwhelm you at times. So I just always try to make sure that yeah I'm in the sneakers, but it's not everything to me in this point in my life. So I try to make sure that I definitely make time with my family, and sneakers can't be every part of my day, even though it's around me all the time. But I keep my kids like away from all that stuff. So that's why I try to, I'm just mindful when I'm out. Like I really don't wear certain things to where I'm drawing that kind of attention into where I have to be sneaker Dave. When I'm out, I don't want to be. I just want to be dad, and I just want to be David, the person, or the friend. So I definitely try to separate that stuff,
I appreciate that. I definitely, can understand and relate to that. Um, so you have the archive, you have your collection. Where do you see your collection going in the future?
man. I don't know, man. Because life happens. Like it's cool to have one day, but I can wake up and not need it all tomorrow. Collecting's cool. Um, but they always say, your priorities change. I'll always be in the sneakers, but one day that might not be a big priority for me. So for now it's cool. I like it because it's what I love. But eventually, you know, one might have to wake up and prioritize. And it might have to get rid of a big chunk of it for the greater good.
Sure. Okay.
So I hate it, but I tell people all the time, when I get kids come up to me all the time and says, I want to have as many sneakers as you, and it's just like, nah, man, just appreciate what you have, and trust me, you don't want hundreds and hundreds of shoes. One, it's a headache, and two, you can have it today and not have it tomorrow. We just recently seen, a couple cats, the whole basement's flooded. They lost all those shoes, but you know what? They're healthy. They're thankful still. So it's kind of one of those things. Shoes is cool. Again, shoes is cool, but I can have it today and not have it tomorrow, and I will still be all right.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, for the rest of this year, is there anything on your radar you look at picking up?
Um, I think that one Orlando is coming holiday. I think, unless they pushed it back. So it's definitely that. I'm actually looking forward to that what dunk is that? It's a dunk mid. Is it social status? Those dunk mids that they have,
Mhm.
those are really, really, So I'm trying to see if I can get the set to those. I'll probably just be nitpicking between trying to get a new release here and there, and maybe an old pair here and there, because I'm always looking for old stuff. So, but definitely those. The Jordan stuff, maybe a Jordan 1 here and there, maybe that gray 11, but Holiday, because of all that pushback, it's not really much on Holiday that I want.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But this, the LeBron 19, I am looking for LeBron 19. I get at least, one or two LeBrons out of all the signature lines. So definitely the LeBron 19 I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that orange one is, because Space Jam wise, all I got were the Converses. I didn't get any of the Nike silhouettes. My wife had got some, but I'm looking forward to them as well. Okay. Well, before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. What do you, you know, what are you looking forward to in 2022?
As far as sneakers or just in general or
Sneakers, life?
life? For 2022, because I'm still getting used to the South. We've been here a year now. I'm really looking at, some entrepreneurial, opportunities coming up, some things I'm trying to put, in motion. And obviously I want everything to be good with, myself and my family. I want us to continue being able to live and not survive. Um, I do really enjoy doing this, linking up, with other sneakerheads, talking shoes, sneakerheads, shoe enthusiasts, whatever you want to call it. So I do enjoy that as well. Kind of looking to see where my situation with Converse takes me, since I've only been in this role for about 6 months. And as far as sneakers, I don't really know a whole lot about what's coming out next year. The only thing I knew that was rumored to come out was those, Orlando Penny ones. Everything I saw was 22, but probably pushed those up after they saw what the Barclays and the Griffeys did. So um, that's really it, man. Just trying to, make things better than they already are, and then just, really enjoy life. So that's hopefully that answers your question.
Dope. That's dope. Good answer.
Yeah, yeah. Before we go, since you get, I didn't know you really did the LeBrons. You got any favorite, Bron silhouettes?
Yeah, Zoom Generation.
First one.
And two. I think, it's weird. I was just talking to, I was on a show, the Brew podcast, right here in Cincinnati. We had talked briefly about the LeBron signature series, and for a guy who's around our age, for him, you got to think way back. Who was the last rookie to get a shoe deal before he even touched the court? You don't really see that kind of stuff. The fact that they rolled out a whole signature line for him at the time, even to the commercial. I think that's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Nike commercial on the basketball side that they ever did. Think about it. They rolled out a commercial with Bernie Mac, Iceman George Gervin, Dr. J, Jerry West, for a 17, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, Moses. Yeah.
Never happened ever in
Yeah.
basketball.
Ooh. No, you're right.
And then, if you really pay attention to details in that commercial, and Nick DiPaolo will tell you, he's the first pass-first superstar we've ever seen in this league. Scoring is his second best thing. But if you look at that commercial, he's passing the ball. That's never happened in a basketball commercial.
You don't think Magic was the first pass first superstar?
Yes, but not. He wasn't this good. Like Magic is he's super talented, but he wasn't a great scorer. He scored when he had to. Yeah, he's a good passer, but he ain't Bron. Bron can score at will. He could score all five. He could play all five positions like Magic, but he's more athletic than Magic. But that's who I compare LeBron to more so than Jordan. Jordan and Bron not even the same to me.
Nah, me neither.
That's why the comparison. Because the thing is, and I know we're about to make this short, but ESPN just runs with that narrative about Bron and Jordan, but really Bron is Magic and Kobe's Michael at the end.
Yep. You said it.
Yeah, but we never seen a guy in the league he's about to be on his 19th shoe.
Yeah.
In his 19th season. That's never happened in NBA history with a signature shoe, where an athlete's worn all 19 of his shoes on the court consecutively. That's never happened.
And I will say it varies by year, but even the soldiers be successful half the time, you know.
So you got the regular signature series, then you have the soldier series, then you have the ambassador series, and then you have the witness series. Mm-hmm. So he has 4 signature lines consecutively just growing. That's never happened.
Nah.
So that's why it's all said and done. People are going to look back at what he's done, and they're going to have to really tip their hat to him and say, man, we really never seen a guy quite like this before. When it's all said and done, I'm talking about shoes, game, impact, everything.
Yeah, off the court, you know.
Yep.
All right, now I'm going to end it with this question for you. Who is Penny, or who's been Penny since Penny?
No one.
Nobody?
Penny is Jordan is Jordan. Kobe is Kobe. LeBron is LeBron. That's how I've always seen it. Right. You can compare. We could go back and forth with comparing all we want, but no one is like nobody in that league. That's how I've always seen players. Yeah, there's bits and pieces of other people's game, but them dudes are just themselves, man, and that's what makes them special. They just themselves. Like, we'll never see another Bron. We'll never see another Penny. We'll never see another Jordan. We'll never see another Kobe. And I love them all separately but differently.
Yeah.
Equally differently, really. So all that comparison stuff, none of that matters to me. I love them all. And not one against another. That's not how basketball is. Basketball is appreciating their singular greatness.
All right, Dave. I like how you put all that. You put it with a nice cherry on top there. So I can't even say that else, but to just thank you for being on here. I really appreciate it.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have fun.
No problem, man. No problem. I'll definitely be sending you stuff like, man, what you think about this, or be like that. So I definitely look forward to that.
For sure. Thank you.
No problem, man. Well, I thank everybody for being a part of it. Of course, thank Sneaker Dave one more time. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Peace.